Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. I'm pleased to have you all here. Today, we'll be discussing current good manufacturing practices, or cGMP, for finished pharmaceuticals. This is the first part of a series, and I'm excited to guide you through the essentials of cGMP. Over the next few slides, we'll cover the key principles, regulations, and best practices to ensure quality and safety in pharmaceutical manufacturing. Let's get started. Let's start by looking at the general provisions outlined here. The scope of this section sets the foundation by defining the minimum cGMP requirements for preparing drug products intended for human or animal use. It's important to note that positron emission tomography, or PET, drugs are excluded from this part, so they have their own specific guidelines. Subpart A, in particular, provides the backbone of our entire cGMP regulatory system. Its purpose is to ensure we cover a broad range of pharmaceutical products, emphasizing that compliance is crucial for maintaining drug quality and safety. This isn't just about meeting regulations, it's about protecting patients and animals who rely on these medicines. Moving on to definitions, the key point here is that the terms outlined in Section 210.3 of the chapter are applied throughout this part. It's essential to have clarity on these definitions to ensure everyone is on the same page. Now let's talk about the responsibilities of the Quality Control Unit, or QCU. This unit plays a central role. They approve or reject all materials involved in production, including ingredients, containers, packaging, labels, and the finished products themselves. They also review production records carefully, making sure no errors go unnoticed and that any errors are thoroughly investigated. Furthermore, the QCU has the authority to approve or reject products made by contract manufacturers, which underscores the importance of oversight even outside our own facilities. They must have proper laboratory facilities to test materials and products rigorously, ensuring everything meets our standards. Lastly, the QCU is responsible for approving or rejecting all procedures and specifications related to the identity, strength, quality, and purity of the drug products. And to keep everything consistent and compliant, all duties and procedures for the QCU must be written down and followed strictly. This slide really highlights the critical role the QCU plays in safeguarding drug quality, which ties directly into our overall goal of ensuring safe, effective medicines for patients and animals. Let's talk about training and qualifications. It's essential that everyone involved in manufacturing, processing, packing, or holding drug products has the right education, training, or experience to do their job effectively. This isn't just about meeting standards, it's about ensuring safety and quality at every step. Training should be specific to the duties each employee performs, so they understand exactly what is expected of them. It also needs to cover the cGMP requirements related to those duties, so they know the regulations they must follow. cGMP training is a continuous process. It must be provided by qualified instructors, people who really know the subject, and it's not a one-and-done deal. Training should happen regularly, often enough to keep everyone updated and fully competent. Supervisory personnel play a critical role here. They need enough education, training, and experience to ensure that the drug products meet all safety, identity, strength, quality, and purity standards. And of course, having adequate staffing is vital. There must be enough qualified personnel to oversee and perform all manufacturing and quality operations properly. When everyone is well-trained and properly staffed, we're better positioned to maintain high standards and ensure product safety for consumers. Let's talk about some key responsibilities for our personnel to maintain a safe and compliant environment. First, employees must wear clean, appropriate clothing for their duties. This helps prevent contamination and keeps our manufacturing area hygienic. When necessary, protective gear like head coverings, face masks, gloves, or arm coverings must be used to further reduce any risk of contamination. It's also essential that everyone maintains good hygiene and sanitation at all times. This is fundamental to ensuring product safety and quality. Only authorized personnel are allowed to enter restricted areas, which helps us control access and protect the integrity of our processes. If anyone is ill or has open lesions, they must not handle drug products or materials until they are medically cleared. This is crucial to prevent any potential contamination. And of course, all employees should report any health condition that could impact product quality or safety. Transparency is key. Now, regarding our consultants, they play a vital role in our operations. Anyone advising on manufacturing, processing, packing, or holding drug products must have the proper education, training, and experience for their specific area. We need to ensure they're qualified to provide sound guidance. Firms are also required to keep detailed records of these consultants. This includes their name and address, their qualifications, and the specific services they provide. Keeping thorough records helps us maintain accountability and ensures compliance with standards. All these points are interconnected. By following them, we protect both our products and our patients, and we uphold the integrity of our entire operation. Let's talk about the basic requirements for buildings used in drug manufacturing. It's essential that these buildings are the proper size, constructed appropriately, and located in suitable areas. This ensures the manufacturing process runs smoothly and safely. Additionally, the design should facilitate easy cleaning and maintenance, which helps prevent contamination and support efficient workflow to keep production on schedule. Moving on to space and layout, these are simple but crucial points. The facility must have enough space to properly place all equipment and materials. This helps avoid clutter and confusion. The layout should be designed in a way that prevents mix-ups, such as mixing up components, containers, labels, or finished products. It's also vital to minimize contamination risks during the movement of materials and personnel, ensuring a safe and clean environment throughout the process. Now, focusing on penicillin facilities, there's a very specific requirement. Penicillin operations must be conducted in completely separate facilities from all other human drug products. This separation is critical to prevent cross-contamination, which could compromise the safety and efficacy of other drugs. In summary, these building and facilities requirements emphasize proper sizing, thoughtful design, careful layout planning, and strict separation, especially for sensitive products like penicillin. All of these elements are fundamental to maintaining quality and safety in drug manufacturing. Now, let's talk about the key requirements for lighting and environmental controls in these critical areas. Adequate lighting must be provided throughout all spaces to ensure visibility and safety. Surfaces should be smooth and easy to clean, which is essential for maintaining cleanliness and preventing contamination. Temperature and humidity need to be carefully controlled to create stable conditions that support product quality and sterility. Air quality is also vital, so we use HEPA-filtered air with positive pressure to keep airborne contaminants out. Additionally, we need systems in place for environmental monitoring, cleaning, disinfection, and maintaining sterility. These are all crucial for compliance and safety. Moving on to the layout, operations must occur in clearly defined, properly sized areas. For example, there should be a dedicated space for receiving, identifying, and holding materials before they are approved. Rejected materials should be kept separate in a designated area to prevent cross-contamination. Approved components and labels need their own storage areas, along with spaces for storing in-process materials and finished, released products. We also require control and laboratory areas for testing and quality checks. In aseptic processing, the areas must be well-defined and controlled to maintain sterility. The overall goal is to ensure that each stage is properly segregated and maintained so that the integrity of the manufacturing process is upheld at all times. Let's talk about ventilation and air systems first. It's crucial that all areas have adequate ventilation to maintain a safe and clean environment. The air systems should be designed to control pressure, microorganisms, dust, humidity, and temperature, depending on what's needed for the specific area. Using air filtration, such as profilters and particulate filters, is essential where appropriate to keep contaminants out. If air is recirculated within the facility, we need to ensure measures are in place to prevent contaminated air or dust from re-entering production areas. For spaces generating contaminants, proper exhaust systems or other control measures must be in place to remove those pollutants effectively. Particularly for penicillin manufacturing, the air handling systems must be completely separate from all other human drug product systems to avoid cross-contamination. Now, moving on to potable water, it's vital that water supplies are maintained under continuous positive pressure. This helps prevent any backflow or contamination from external sources. Plumbing must be free of defects to ensure safety and prevent contamination, and the water must meet the EPA primary drinking water standards, which are detailed in 40 CFR Part 141. If water doesn't meet these standards, it must not enter the potable system. Regarding drains, they need to be of adequate size to handle the volume of waste and prevent backups. If connected to a sewer, there should be an air brake or mechanical device, like a trap, to prevent back siphonage, which could cause contamination. Finally, all sewage, trash, and waste must be disposed of in a safe and sanitary manner. Proper ventilation, air filtration, and heating and cooling systems are all critical components in maintaining a clean and controlled environment. These measures work together to ensure that our facilities remain compliant and safeguard both products and personnel. When it comes to washing facilities, it's essential that we provide adequate resources for everyone. This means having hot and cold water available, along with soap or detergent to ensure proper cleaning. Air dryers or single-use towels are also important to help dry hands effectively. And of course, clean toilets should be easily accessible from our work areas, so there's no unnecessary movement or inconvenience. Now, building cleanliness isn't just about appearance, it's about maintaining a sanitary environment. Facilities must always be kept clean and free from pests like rodents, insects, or birds, unless they're approved lab animals. Prompt removal of trash and waste is also critical. It helps prevent contamination and keeps the area hygienic. Moving on to sanitation procedures, clarity is key. We need written protocols that clearly assign who is responsible for cleaning tasks. These procedures should detail the methods, schedules, materials, and equipment used for cleaning. And most importantly, these instructions must be followed exactly as written to ensure consistency and safety. In summary, maintaining proper washing and toilet facilities, ensuring cleanliness, and following clear sanitation procedures are all vital components of a safe and compliant environment. They help us protect health, prevent contamination, and support the overall integrity of our operations. Let's talk about written procedures first. It's essential that we have clear, detailed procedures for handling rodenticides, insecticides, fungicides, and fumigants. These are chemicals that, if not managed properly, can pose serious risks. Similarly, procedures must also cover cleaning and sanitizing agents, making sure they're used correctly and safely. The key point here is that all these agents must be used in a way that prevents contamination of our products, equipment, or materials. Contamination can compromise product quality and safety, so strict adherence to procedures is crucial. Additionally, it's important to remember that all such agents need to be properly registered and used according to federal law, specifically under FIFRA, the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act. Compliance isn't just about safety, it's a legal requirement. Now, sanitation rules aren't just for full-time staff. They also apply to contract workers and temporary staff. Everyone working in these environments must follow the same standards to maintain safety and quality. Moving on to maintenance, any building involved in manufacturing, processing, packing, or holding drug products must be kept in good repair. Regular maintenance helps prevent contamination, equipment failure, and ensures our facility remains compliant with good manufacturing practices. Finally, when it comes to pest control and cleaning agents, the main takeaway is that proper management and use are vital. We need to make sure these agents are used correctly to maintain a clean environment and prevent any potential contamination risks. This all ties back to our overall goal of ensuring product safety and quality throughout the entire process. When it comes to equipment, it's essential that it is properly designed, meaning it should be suitable for its intended use. You want to make sure it's the right size, not too small that it hampers the process, and not too large that it causes inefficiencies. Placement is also key. Equipment should be located in a way that allows for easy operation, cleaning, and maintenance, helping to maintain a smooth workflow. Now, what happens if equipment isn't compliant? There could be serious risks like FDA citations, product contamination, or even recalls, which can be costly and damage the company's reputation. So, paying close attention to these details is critical. Let's talk about the construction of equipment. Surfaces that come into contact with components, in-process materials, or the final drug products must be carefully designed. They shouldn't react chemically with the product, which means no reactive surfaces. They also shouldn't add any foreign substances, that's the additive aspect, and they shouldn't absorb ingredients, which could alter the product's quality. Our main goal with all of this is to maintain the safety, identity, strength, quality, and purity of the drug throughout its life cycle. And what about operating substances like lubricants, coolants, or cleaning agents? These must never contact the components, containers, closures, or the products themselves, because they could affect the product's safety or quality. Overall, proper equipment design and maintenance are fundamental to ensuring we produce safe, effective, and high-quality pharmaceuticals. When it comes to equipment and utensils, it's essential that they are properly cleaned, maintained, sanitized, and sterilized at appropriate intervals. The key here is doing this as suitable to the nature of the drug we're working with. Different drugs may require different levels of cleanliness, so understanding what's appropriate is crucial. We also need written procedures. These are our standard operating procedures, or SOPs. These SOPs must clearly outline who is responsible for cleaning and maintenance, ensuring accountability. They should include scheduled times for cleaning, maintenance, and sanitizing, so everything stays on track. The SOPs should also provide detailed methods, how to clean, what materials or equipment to use, and instructions on how to disassemble and reassemble the equipment properly. This helps prevent any mistakes that could compromise cleanliness or safety. Another important point is the removal of any previous batch labels or identification from equipment before reuse. This prevents mix-ups and ensures traceability. Plus, after cleaning, equipment must be protected from contamination before it's used again, covering or storing it properly. Before using cleaned equipment, it's vital to inspect it for cleanliness. We need to be sure no residues or contaminants remain that could affect the drug's quality. All these activities, cleaning, maintenance, sanitizing, and inspections, must be thoroughly documented. Record keeping is critical and should comply with specific regulatory standards, like those outlined in 211.18 and 211.182. Consistent documentation not only ensures compliance, but also helps us track the effectiveness of our cleaning and maintenance programs, maintaining the integrity of our manufacturing process. Let's talk about the use of equipment in our manufacturing process. Automatic, mechanical, or electronic systems, including computers, are commonly used during drug manufacturing, processing, packing, and holding. The key here is that all equipment must perform its intended function properly to ensure quality and safety. Now, to keep everything running smoothly, calibration and maintenance are crucial. These activities should be done routinely, following a written program that clearly outlines inspection, calibration, and checks. And it's essential to keep written records of all these checks and calibrations. This documentation helps us prove that everything has been maintained correctly over time. Moving on to computer system controls, only authorized personnel should have the ability to change master records or data. This helps prevent unauthorized modifications. Inputs and outputs from these systems must be checked regularly to ensure accuracy. The frequency of these checks depends on how complex and reliable the system is. Additionally, we must keep backup files of all data, and these backups need to be protected from alteration, erasure, or loss to maintain data integrity. When computers are used to replace manual calculations, it's important to keep a written record of the program and its validation data. This way, we can verify that the computerized processes are reliable and compliant. Finally, let's touch on automated operations and verification. Automated equipment can reduce the need for manual operators or checkers, sometimes replacing one of the two required by other sections, if certain conditions are met. First, the equipment must comply with all specified requirements. Second, at least one person must verify that the equipment has performed the operation correctly. This approach helps us maintain control and assurance over automated processes, ensuring they meet quality standards while improving efficiency. When it comes to filters for injectable drug products, the key point is that non-fiber-releasing filters are required. This means that during the manufacturing process, the filters used must not shed fibers into the final product, as that could pose contamination risks. However, there are situations where fiber-releasing filters might be unavoidable. In such cases, their use is only permissible if no suitable non-fiber filter is available. Even then, it's crucial to follow the fiber-releasing filter with a non-fiber-releasing filter to ensure any particles are effectively removed. The final filter in this sequence must have a maximum pore size of 0.2 microns, or 0.45 microns if process conditions demand it. This step ensures the highest level of sterility and safety for injectable products. Lastly, it's important to emphasize that asbestos-containing filters are strictly prohibited under all circumstances. Their use is not only outdated, but also poses serious health and safety risks. So, in summary, choosing the right filter is critical for product safety, and adherence to these guidelines helps maintain the integrity and safety of injectable drugs. Will be continued in the next video. For further support, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're here to help with any questions or additional information you might need. Remember, we're committed to ensuring you feel confident and well-informed moving forward. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. We truly appreciate your participation and look forward to supporting you further.